Welcome back to the Garage Gym Experiment podcast. My name is Adam. I'm joined with Jake, and we're back again for another great episode. On tonight's episode, we have a Garage Gym Radio announcement. Little, what would you say, Jake? Addition to our family here, someone else to come under the umbrella. We have a HomeGymCon update, some survey results with some 2025 predictions, and we have Jake's predictions for 2025 as well. Jake?
All right. Thank you, Adam. So, yep, you're right. Announcement. So the Home Gym podcast, which was created by Man Who Parks and Gym and Flex Marks the Spot, has now joined Garage Gym Radio after a few discussions earlier or late last week. For anybody who does not know, Man Who Parks and Gym and Flex Marks the Spot have been creating content in the home gym space for a while. They started doing a podcast maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, and they are big time experts. They truly love this stuff. I made a comment on the podcast. I was like, it's a really cool podcast for nerds like us. I even said to them, I was like, you guys go into quite a bit more detail than we do on a lot of stuff and have quite a bit of knowledge in the industry. And so I think it complements the type of stuff we do well. Ultimately, one of the big reasons I thought it would be cool to bring them on was because since they do go into so much detail, it would be really, it's a podcast that is really valuable for any companies in the industry to listen to, just so they know who the customer is, what they're saying. They're learning from people that really know their stuff. And then it's also just for a podcast for anybody who also just likes to geek out on home gym stuff. They're longer episodes. They go into their home gym, what they've seen on social media, talk about their experiences with certain companies. And yeah, excited to have them on, and we'll see how this goes. And I should say, I think they're planning on recording later next week, so it should be relatively soon. We see the first episode of their podcast on Garage Gym Radio. All right, next up, one more administrative thing before we get to predictions and survey results. We added country number 9. So this event is kind of quickly turning into a global event, HomeGymCon, which is not necessarily something that I saw coming. I knew we'd get a few people from different countries, maybe Canada. We knew ATX was coming back. They loved it. They came back. We know they're going to be coming to America with their products, so it was a good event for them. But didn't necessarily think we'd get to 9 different countries. Lacertosis is number 116 and country number 9 added to the HomeGymCon list. They're coming big time. They have a 1,000 square foot booth that they are sharing with Ropeflex. So I think this is a really cool addition. This is actually the hold company, the company that was on hold. So it did take them maybe 2 months. No, maybe 6 or 8 weeks to totally decide, okay, we're in.
It's crazy. And then it'll be interesting. I can't see us adding much more. It seems so full already, but we've had conversations, Jake, as you go into the new year and these companies start figuring out their budgets, those maybe start turning into definite yeses or nos. It gets a lot more black and white for them. I mean, 6 months out, could you say 5 months out? Do you count the first month? It's coming fast.
We're 5.5 months out.
Crazy.
So, all right, next up, 2025 survey results that revolved around predictions for the home gym industry. So number 1, who will create the best product in 2025? We asked between Rep, Rogue, a combination of Titan / Bells of Steel / Fringe, and then other. Rep was the easy winner here with 44.5% of the votes. Rogue was easily second place with 28% of the votes. Bells slash Titan slash Fringe came in third with 14%, and then other was at 13%. So we asked this question pretty similarly last year. Rogue ate into a little bit of Rep's votes here, but Rep did easily win this one pretty easily. Who do you think is going to create the best product?
I don't disagree with Rep. Like recent history has shown us, like, I don't know, they're home gym focused. And who else I think is home gym focused is that Titan, Bells, and Fringe category. So I think like the one vote is split, but I think if you said who second tier, I think that Titan, Bells, and Fringe, I don't think anyone doesn't expect great things from them as well. Like these are just like home gym like companies, and they're constantly like innovating for us. So I expect to see big things out of them. But yeah, Rep is my number one.
Yeah, I actually have some of that in my predictions for 2025. Going into 2024, I feel like Rep was a lot more forthcoming with what was coming, and I have faith that Rep is going to have a big year, but I don't have any insights into what they're releasing.
Do you think the Rep Smith machine is coming in 2025?
Absolutely.
By November, right? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah. I mean, I hope that's coming in the first half of the year.
Just so any listener like doesn't like there is no even talks of them doing that. It's just that's the way the popular wave is going, and you know they're going to create something. So it just feels
Right.
like it's coming. We said it like we knew something, but we don't.
It feels like they've been quiet for a while. Since the Repins and since like, you know, they have like the adjustable dumbbell carts, but like nothing too crazy. Most of their stuff was like summer releases.
When did they make that big move to make like everything like modular, where you could put your storage system like off to the side on your rack, like basically do like a storage builder with the rack builder? Was that 2024?
I think that was more like mid last year, early to mid last year. Yeah. So, yeah, we'll see. In terms of most innovative product for the survey results, Rep was the winner again with 41-ish% of the votes. Bulletproof Fitness actually came in second with 22% of the votes, other 22%, and then Rogue 15%. So, Bulletproof went down a little bit here, but I can see them having a decent year this year if they can get some of those products out. Other with 22%. So I think a lot of people maybe think like maybe somebody like Freak Athlete, maybe even Fringe, Bells of Steel. They're in the runnings too. So this is a very tough one to predict, but again, lots of faith in Rep with 41% of the votes. In terms of what will have the biggest year between rack attachments, specialty machines, cardio equipment, and then specialty bars. So we have a little bit of an issue with the graph there, but it doesn't make that big of an issue. The winner here was rack attachments with about 48% of the votes, and then specialty machines were not too far behind with 36% of the votes. We also asked about cardio equipment and specialty bars. So I would say 6 or 7 years ago, those would be the ones kind of at the top. But nowadays we have specialty machines and rack attachments. So specialty bars had less than 4% of the votes, and then cardio equipment only had about 11% of the votes. And then going into, we ask a lot of questions like who's going to have the best year. We see Rep at the top, we see Rogue at the top, but we never really break down like those lurking, or those who are like, I don't want to say second tier, but they're lurking. Let's say lurking. So who will have the bigger year? Bells of Steel, Fringe Sports, Body Solid. Easy winner here was Bells of Steel with 52% of the votes. Fringe Sport, second place with 28% of the votes. Next, 17% of the votes, and then Body Solid 3%. And then Body Solid 3% of the votes. I probably should have put Titan in here, but they didn't really do much last year, and I don't know. I'm not sure what to expect from Titan this year. It seems like they had uh, a decent amount at HomeGymCon that didn't end up being released in 2024, and then I've heard rumors of another product that's pretty cool.
I like the
So
direction they're going, like with the specialty bars, and then when that selectorized leg extension leg curl comes out, I think that's going to be a big one. Yeah, I think they're going to make waves. I think Bell's is probably the safe bet for having a bigger year. Um, yeah, but I do like the direction Titans headed.
yeah, I think Bell's is the safe pick there. All right, which USA made company will make the most noise? So this was a tough one to choose between just 4 companies, but ended up going with Black Widow, Bridgebill, Surplus Strength, and AbMat. Bridgebill was narrowly the winner with 29.9% of the votes. Black Widow, who I checked this midway through. Black Widow was leading Bridgebill, but they ended up being in second place with 29.4%, AbMat 20.4%, and then Surplus Strength 20.3%. All right, I'm going to put you on the spot. What company outside of this list do you think has the most potential or can make the most waves in 2025?
Outside of this list,
Yes.
man,
That's tough. I know.
USA
Sorry.
made.
Told you.
I know you're gonna make me. It's kind of. I guess I don't know the ins and outs of some of the companies I'm thinking of, like if they are truly USA made. I mean, Rogue is a USA made company, right?
Yes, we're everyone but Rogue for this question. Who catches your eye? I mean, there's like Mutant
Catches my eye
Metals,
on this one.
there's
Yeah,
JD Gym Equipped.
I love those guys. Catch my eye on this one is Black Widow. Outside this list, yeah, I like those guys. But making the most noise, I do like what Black Widow does when they like follow the influencers who like talk about a problem and he's like, oh, I could build that. And he just like slaps together in his shop. I think that's super cool. Yeah. What about you?
Outside of this list,
Yeah.
that's an impossible question. I was thinking though, it is kind of surprising that, there's like a group of like a dozen smaller made in America companies that have like at least emerged and like have been part of HomeGymCon. I think there's more out there, but this like group of a dozen, I'm surprised it hasn't grown. Maybe that just tells you how difficult it truly is, but it really has just been like the same group.
Well, I got one for you.
Maybe a few others.
I like what Darko's doing. I know he's just like a one man show out of his garage, but
It's a good
I
one.
think he fits the mold of made in USA company. Um, he kind of like sneak peek. He has some like big stuff coming out. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if I had to choose one, knowing that, I have a good one. I think knowing that cable attachments are going to continue to rise and just seeing our experiences with them, I think Mag Grips. I think
Yeah.
They could be a good one. Also, JD Gym Equipped,
My
just because
buddy,
cable attachment.
yeah, sorry. Yeah, JD's awesome. My buddy sent me a picture of that mag grip tricep pushdown in like his gym that he goes to. Yeah, it's
Oh,
like I
nice.
had to look up what this does. It's like it was sitting on like a wall control like at a powerlifting gym he goes to in North Carolina. And I was like, yeah, that thing's sweet.
Nice. They already got it. It's cool. All right. Next up, what's most likely to make it into the most home gyms in 2025? Custom equipment, magnetic resistance, flywheels, or smart fitness/AI connected devices. That was actually the winner with 35% of the votes. 33% went to custom equipment, 19% magnetic resistance, like the Voltra, and then flywheels, 13%. And then lastly, some quick hitters. 66% believe that Rogue will acquire a company in 2025. 42% believe Rep will acquire a company in 2025. 45% believe Titan will impress us with new products in 2025. I mentioned, don't really know what Titan did last year and what their goals are this year, but I think they'll impress us. I do think they'll impress us this year. 16% believe there's a high chance a new piece of tech will capture their attention in 2025. It's basically the same as last year. Only 34% believe a company will have a more impressive list of new products than Rep in 2025. So most people still have quite a bit of faith in Rep. And then we also asked the same question about Rogue, but 66% believe that a company will have a more impressive list of new products than Rogue in 2025. Those numbers actually added up to 100%. So that tells me that most people think that Rogue and Rep will have, at the end of the year, the most impressive list of new products. But about two times more people voted for Rep there. And then lastly, 59% believe the home gym community will grow. 12% think it will become smaller. And then 29% think it will stay the same. And those results are basically the same as what we saw going into last year. All right. And then let's move on to my personal predictions. So I've heard a few different kind of home gym predictions for 2025. I tried to be a little bit different, but there were some things that I did agree with. Some of the other things I saw. I think there's some things that most people wouldn't really think about here. Number one, there will be more content creators. I feel like in the last 6 months, I've seen a decent amount of new content creators. So I think we had COVID and there was a big rise of content creators, and then it steadied off. I think some people kind of realized, it's difficult to make quite a bit of money. You have to be consistent for a long time. And I think a lot of people fell off. But I do think a lot of those people are still kind of around and could pop up at any point in time. But in general, I think creating content, I think a lot of people are realizing that creating content doesn't necessarily have to be a full-time job. And there are certain tools that really help make it easier than what it used to be. And they're also realizing that it doesn't have to be this world-class, phenomenal piece of content, put together like a Garage Gym Reviews YouTube video, for example, to kind of make an impact. I mean, all people just want to make good purchasing decisions. They don't necessarily need it to be the most beautiful, well put together thing in the world. Just give them the good information. So I definitely think we are going to see more content creators just as the space continues to evolve. My suggestion for companies here, just appreciate them. So they're helping to educate the consumers. They're also small businesses. So, if you think about when you're a small business, if you are a small business, you're likely to support those who support you. So I can go on a tangent in the future on something like that, but I think, the more content creators and companies support each other or just work together, it'll help grow this industry. Next up, I've been preaching this for a while. This is the year of the second rack. I've mentioned this on the podcast many times. Honestly think the best thing that you can possibly do is get 2 racks, one be for lifting and one be an all-around or an all-in-one that includes a functional trainer, a Smith machine, landmine, anything like that. Just some sort of all-around thing that you can use as an ultimate accessory tool. So I think there's 2 ways to go about that. You can buy that first. A lot of these already come as racks, and you can start off by using it as a rack too, and then ultimately buy a squat rack. Or you can start with a rack and then add an all-in-one as your first, I would consider it my first specialty machine, and then you adds quite a bit of variety to your home gym. With that, I just think it makes sense for all-in-ones to thrive. So whether you're buying a Major Fitness rack, a Force USA rack, Rep Aries 2.0, I don't see those going away, but I definitely see just more people adding a second piece that is a all-in-one, as opposed to like them just buying a functional trainer, for example. I see a lot more value in adding a second piece as like an all-in-one and just not using it as a rack. Number 3, so I do think that like the Vultras and Shogun Flexes, anything like that, I think anything with magnetic resistance has a very bright future. However, I don't think 2025 is the year for mass expansion. I still think the prices are going to be too high. There's going to be people who are hesitant with the software. So I think 2025, not quite the year. I personally love the idea of more home gyms having them in the future, whether it's to do home gym hack type stuff, or I love the idea of instead of like a specialty machine with stacks, it has a magnetic resistance that you can use instead, so that it's not quite as intense to ship if you want to move it around. In a perfect world, I think you can move the magnetic resistance easily from one machine to the next. I think that's going to happen at some point in the future. Probably not next year though. Next up, so we have heard that the economy is getting tough, prices are high, companies are going to go out of business. I think probably some, maybe. I don't think it's going to be an issue for companies with strong brands. They're constantly innovating. They're working with the community. Basically, my prediction here is that if you are kind of setting yourself outside of just basic equipment, you're just buying off a shelf and adding it to your catalog. If you're setting yourself from those companies, you're going to be good, and especially if you're a little bit larger. So I think companies like Rogue, Rep, Bells of Steel, Fringe, and GetRx thrive next year because they evolve in their own way, and they kind of differentiate themselves from each other as well. So like Rep's kind of getting that reputation for coming out with more premium equipment, really well thought out stuff. I think Fringe is like the most approachable. They're very friendly. They've got a cool vibe, and they're also coming out with some very innovative stuff. Maybe not as intense as some of the stuff that Rep is doing. Bells of Steel is just like adding everything in their own way. GetRx is adding some innovation to their racks and stuff like that. They also have the Zbex line, which most of these companies don't have as quite of an established cardio line. And I think that's important as like more educated consumers are thinking about home gyms or building out their home gyms. They know who they're buying from, and brand relevance and customer reputation is going to be very important, as opposed to just like buying whatever is on Amazon. Next, more products designed specifically for women. With the home gyms, a lot of the early adopters, the most passionate, most within like this community are male. Most of them have a household though, so there's multiple people training within their homes. So there's a very good chance that they have a wife. So maybe the male starts the home gym, but it brings along others in the family as well. So I think we're seeing a lot more women within the home gym space, and they don't necessarily, like, there's a few barbells for them, but they're not like truly designed for women, I don't think. I think they were just kind of created 10 pounds lighter, a little bit smaller. I'm sure there's more ways to optimize that. And then there's I've seen some things like hip thrust machines coming from like companies like RitFit. And there's a number of them on the market. also the Booty Box platform. So like things like I see more products like that coming to the market. Next, I think with the boom or like just the general interest in adding commercial gym equipment, or just more, not necessarily commercial gym equipment, but specialty machines, is going to attract some of the more commercial gym companies to the home gym space. And I think a good model to follow would be with Prime Fitness. I'm going to take a guess and say Prime Fitness, most of their equipment that they sell goes through commercial gyms. They're very premium specialty machines, just like very high end. Most home gym owners it's not necessarily high on their priority list. For whatever reason, Prime Fitness has put a lot of focus to the home gym community over the past 5 years, whether it's finding certain influencers to help spread the word, or supporting the garage gym competition, or coming to HomeGymCon. I think they have a really good reputation of within the home gym community, and it's likely a top specialty machine choice for many within the home gym community. I don't know if they saw this forthcoming, or if they were just doing it because they thought, or if they were just doing it because they knew that home gym people like to talk about equipment and the word spreads that way. But I do think there are going to be more companies like Life Fitness or Hammer Strength to I think they would get a lot of value if they just spent a little bit of attention towards the home gym community. And I think home gym community wants companies like that to give them attention. And I think we would be very happy to help spread the word. All right, equipment trends within the surveys, and then just within past podcasts. So I won't go into too much detail with these, but I do see these equipment trends happening in 2025 as well. So the first one is adjustable dumbbell interest surpasses traditional dumbbell interest. They're just getting too good, and the amount of space saved is highly valued from most home gym owners. I think the mini commercial gym within home gym trend continues. There's just a lot of people that this is their main thing, their main hobby, and they're building out incredible home gyms. And they've been doing it for a really long time. So they're adding specialty machines. It might not necessarily be every couple months, but one every year or two. And before you know it, you have a commercial gym within your home gym. And then with more people having pulley systems within their home gym, a lot of people have seen value with a variety of cable attachments. You're able to duplicate a lot of different specialty machines, or maybe machines that you can go to at a gym with certain attachments. And I see cable attachments kind of taking over some of the barbell collectors here in the next couple of years as well. And you're going to see a lot of people showcasing their cable attachments rather than their walls of barbells. Next, pretty simple. I just think more people become interested in custom work. It's, again, more people, this is their main hobby. They spend a lot of time here. They want to create an environment they're proud of, and custom work definitely helps that. And then lastly, I do indeed think that Smith machines will continue to kind of rise and become more popular in 2025. I personally had a Smith machine in my home gym all year. Adds a ton of versatility. You're able to focus on certain muscles, and it does, with a little bit of setup work, you're able to also replicate a lot of specialty machines as well. So I do see Smith machines taking off within a home gym, especially within the all-in-one systems where it doesn't take up too much space. So that was a lot. Those are predictions for 2025. Any thoughts, Adam?
I have some thoughts, Jake.
Oh,
I really liked the idea of a Beyond Voltra company having their Beyond Voltra and then creating an entire line of commercial machines like a leg extension and then a lat pull down where you take off the Voltra and you stick it onto something else and like full stacks right there. Like that's I I like that. I don't like the idea of other specialty machines using magnetic resistance. Um, you lose an entire specialty machine. I just at some point it's gonna break down, just like your just any kind of select dry stack is gonna break down. Whereas like I can just go in and like replace a cable, like I couldn't go in and like fix a computer. So don't love that, but I do love the idea of a company that has a system like Beyond Voltra having a bunch of machines like that would be insane. They have like this line of machines, that'd be super cool. The other one that I like was the mini commercial gym trend. I see the dedicated machines. I've always liked those in home gyms. So, but I see them getting more popular, and as people like continue to use their barbell plates and racks as they should, you're looking for additional ways to train, and machines are a great way to do it. So I like when gyms start filling out machines and looking like you walk down into a basement and see like, a commercial gym there. You walk out in someone's garage and you see a commercial gym. And yeah, I see that trend continuing as well.
Yeah, I do too. Especially like just thinking about it, like some people have had home gyms now for, like, some people have had them for 20, 30 years. But since COVID, some people have had them for close to 5 years now. And I definitely see more people like every year, every 2 years, adding a $2,000 machine to their home gym. And also one thing I didn't mention was they're getting better at a better price point, I should say. Not, I mean, some of them like Titans all have risen, but there's certain companies like Temple of Gains who have this as their number one focus. They're focused on bringing like high quality machines at like half the price of what you could get at a traditional commercial gym company. So
Yeah, Keith, the wine cellar, posted like a 10-year anniversary, I think, that showed the picture of like when the cellar like first started. And like if you've seen Keith's gym at the wine cellar, um, it's awesome. It's a full commercial like powerlifting gym that he like hosts like lifts with a bunch of people, and he's got multiple racks, multiple benches. Uh, but he posted like when he first started, and yeah, you have something, you trade it out for something better, or you add to it, and it's for most of us, especially if you listen to this podcast, it is uh your old school car. It is your man cave. It is your collection. Um, Beyond just like using it as a gym, it's the hobby. And yeah, it's never gonna like you're never gonna stop growing it. And if you do, like good on you, but I mean, it's
no,
never ending, I
you're
feel
not.
like.
Yeah, it's the best. I need to find a picture of my first home gym. I need to scroll all the way back to the beginning of Garage Gym Experiment
Man.
and find it.
So my first one in my house that we built in North Carolina, that was a pretty good setup for like Olympic weightlifting. And then I moved
Yeah.
to a smaller house out there and it didn't use it much. So it was just like, rack and a platform. And then when I first moved to Michigan, oh, it was brutal. It's, it's like a single, like one of those lights right there above my head, like a single, like string pole light and like a dingy basement. And I really like where I'm at now, but I'm sure I'm gonna keep trying to make it better. I love your gym right now, Jake. So Jake, Kyle, and I are all lifting last weekend, and Jake's got it to a point where it's less like the way you put it, if I can steal the words out of your mouth there, less like collecting of stuff and more like getting rid of stuff to make it exactly how he wants it. A lot of open space, but yet the best equipment at the same time. Yeah, it was awesome. That's so much fun.
Yep. That's been the goal for a
Uh,
while. It's taken a while to adapt, but it's starting to get there.
yeah, yeah, sweet.
All right. Well,
That's going to do it for us. If you like tonight's episode, be sure to keep your eye out for new episode releases wherever you listen to podcasts, and be sure to follow Knurled News. Not subscribed yet? Check out the link below and sign up for more home gym content. Like we said earlier, we are 5.5 months out from HomeGymCon, so make sure you go to HomeGymCon.com, book your hotel, get your tickets. If you are an athlete in grip, Olympic weightlifting, hybrid strength, powerlifting, sign up. Start training. We'll see you there in June. Jake, anything else left for the listeners? All right, guys. See you next time. Thanks for listening, and goodbye.